What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and it's UFC 294 fight week, and today I'm going to be telling you guys why I think Khamzat Chimaev's worst possible matchup is the man who has stepped in to replace Paulo Costa in Kamaru Usman. Now, obviously, you have to kind of take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, considering that Usman is stepping in on short notice here, so that will play a factor into this fight, undoubtedly. I mean, not having a full training camp against a guy like Khamzat is just not exactly something you want to do. But Usman's a dog, and he stepped in here, and I still think he stands a really good chance. If there's anybody that can deal with Khamzat's wrestling, it's Kamaru Usman. Usman has a 97% takedown defense in the UFC, and considering how long he's been at the top and the level of opponent he's faced, that's pretty damn impressive. Now, as we've seen in Kamaru Usman's last couple of fights against Leon Edwards, he hasn't looked like the former version of himself that beat Colby Covington, Gilbert Burns, Jorge Masvidal, but there's still good things to take away from those fights. I mean, Usman wasn't completely dominated in either fight. Don't get me wrong, I don't think he really won any rounds besides maybe a couple against Leon the last time out, but he still looked competitive in that fight. And he also fought a completely different look to Khamzat Chimaev in a guy like Leon Edwards, who typically is a striker and doesn't really like to grapple whatsoever. And his grappling defense and takedown defense was good enough in order for him to not get into deep waters with Usman on the mat. This time around, you have a guy in Khamzat Chimaev who's going to want to grapple. He's going to want to wrestle. I see a lot of people saying that this fight's going to be a stand and bang for 15 minutes, and honestly, I don't see that happening. I mean, Khamzat Chimaev is such a great wrestler, and I don't think even fighting a guy like Usman, he's going to want to not use it. I mean, he still tried takedowns against Gilbert Burns, who is also great in jiu-jitsu off his back, so I don't see why you would be scared to do it against a guy like Usman, who he's also bigger than, which is where I think Usman has a slight advantage in this fight. Don't get me wrong, Khamzat's wrestling is out of this world, but this is Kamaru Usman. He knows how to wrestle. This isn't going to be his first rodeo with a guy who knows how to wrestle. He's going to know how to deal with him. And I think the experience is going to be a big factor in this one. Remember as well that Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns trained together at Killcliff. And Gilbert Burns has already fought Khamzat. So I know styles make fights, but having a guy like Gilbert Burns while you're training, trying to replicate some of the looks that Khamzat might give him, could be a big factor. And it may be a little detail, but it could go a long way. Even though this fight's on short notice as well, I don't think Usman's cardio is going to be much of an issue. This is his first 3-round fight in years. He's usually used to fighting 5 rounds, and he also trains at altitude. This fight isn't at altitude, but he still has a great gas tank, and I don't see it being bad here, especially if the fight's only 15 minutes. The downfall for Kamaru Usman here, though, could just be that Khamzat's the bigger guy. I think that's the only question mark that I can't really answer, to be honest. I mean, Khamzat is the bigger guy, and Usman's fighting at 85 now. He's not used to doing that, so that could play a difference, but on the other side of it, it could also help him as well. He's not going to be as drained, not going to have a brutal weight cut, so I believe it's actually only 11 pounds that Kamaru Usman has to cut, which is not a lot at all compared to his 20-something pounds he had to cut for welterweight. So, I don't know. You can look at that both ways. All of these things kind of add up as to why I think this is Khamzat's worst possible matchup. I mean, you have a guy in Kamaru Usman who, let's face it, he's a legend of the sport, whether most people want to believe it or not. And he's been in incredible fights over the past couple of years, and he knows how to win, and he's proven how good he is. For Khamzat, to have to fight a guy like this after you're supposed to be fighting Paulo Costa, who is a completely different look to Usman, there's going to be challenges there. Khamzat will struggle in this fight, and this fight is going to be a lot closer than most people are making it out to be. And there you have it. That's what I think of this fight. I'm super excited for this one. I'm actually really happy Kamaru Usman decided to step in here. I think this is a much better fight than Khamzat versus Paulo, and I just couldn't be more excited for it. It's UFC 294 fight week. It's time to get excited. Thank you all for watching this video. I'm going to keep pumping out the content as the week goes on. And yeah, I'm just super excited for an awesome pay-per-view that I think will deliver for sure. So yeah, thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.